I'm Jackie. I'm refuting Farva's claim that the Electoral College is detrimental to the American people. Detrimental meaning that it imposes harm upon the American people. So his secondary claims were that the Electoral College is undemocratic, it results in smaller states having more influence than larger states, and that it is outdated. So the first claim was that it's undemocratic. According to Stanford.edu, the democracy is defined as a political system for choosing and replacing the government through free and fair elections, and the active participation of the people as citizens in politics and civic life. So it's always free to vote, and then fairness is relative, depending on who you're talking to. And so it's up to the people to participate in the government. So that's what democracy is defined as. And according to John Maller of the New York Times, the Founding Fathers, this is regarding the Electoral College, the Founding Fathers sought to ensure that residents in states with smaller populations were not ignored. So the Electoral College actually helps the idea of democracy, saying that everyone is included, even the minorities. Also, under the same claim that it's undemocratic, the advocate mentioned faithless voters. And in his speech, he even said that faithless voters have not affected a single outcome of the election. This was from the same source, fairvote.org. And as of the 2016 election, no elector has changed the outcome of an election by voting against his or her party's designated candidate. So I thought this was a weak supporting argument to his claim because it doesn't even affect the election as a whole. His second claim was that the Electoral College results in smaller states having more influence than larger states. According to Richard Posner, a judge and senior lecturer at the University of Chicago Law, voters in toss-up states are more likely to pay close attention to the campaign, to really listen to the competing candidates, and knowing that they are going to decide the election. So this is about swing states. We actually want swing states because we know those people in those states are going to be really paying attention to the campaign, and we know that their votes will be really thought about, and not just because some people vote and they're like, oh, I like how this person's name sounds, I'm going to vote for them. And that's not who we want to be deciding our leaders. And so the proportions make it seem like a small state has a bigger voice, but it's actually just the individuals in these states compared to the bigger states. So the bigger states as a whole, have more voice, but the individuals in the smaller states have a bigger voice, if that makes sense. His third claim was that the Electoral College is outdated, and the evidence he used under this claim was from a poll from Gallup.com, and it said that 63% of Americans want the Electoral College abolished. Well, I looked up this poll and I looked up the stats of the poll, and it said it was taken from a sample of 1,005 people, which and I don't think that 1,005 people truly represent 323 million Americans. So yeah, I thought that claim as a whole was weak because of the evidence he used to back it up didn't really represent all of America. So to conclude, the Electoral College is not detrimental to the American people. Many might not like it, but it doesn't impose harm upon any of us. Thank you.
All right, the structural stuff is fine. On the first point, I think that's where your argument is the clearest and you have an easier time getting things across to us. The notion that the people in the states that are smaller have a proportionally greater responsibility. They're more likely to pay attention to those sorts of things. That's in the second point. That's fine. The whole purpose of the Electoral College is explained in the first point, and then in the second point you're giving us the impact is that in the swing states it matters. I thought that the combination of those 2 points is pretty reasonable. You basically dismiss the faithless elector argument by pointing out that the advocate themselves showed that there has never been any impact on this. If you could add some information that suggests that it's unlikely that it would ever happen also, that would be helpful. The idea that it's outdated basically is just a press on the opinion poll. I think there are probably better arguments to make on this particular issue, that the notion of what the Constitution should be and how it should be altered is affected by, some pretty clear standards, and as long as these are democratic standards and they're constitutional, it's going to continue to be this way, and it would require some change. You need to basically argue that the advocate is saying that we have to violate the Constitution in order to save it, and that seems to be a little bit problematic. I think that's the way you want to phrase that argument at the end. All right, I'm rushing, so